All right, so let's get started. Boo, 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 boo. Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome to Bugs Need Heroes, a podcast illustrating the inspiring abilities of insects. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kelly.
Before we get started creating a bug-themed character, what's bugging you, Kelly?
Oh my goodness. So many things. No, I just had a molar removed. So
Ugh.
it's been a horrible week for me.
Dental surgery, never a good time.
No. Although I do have to say my surgeon was fantastic and made it as painless as possible.
I've heard there's a big difference between going to a dentist and going to like an orthodontist or orthodontal surgeon for
An
these
oral
things.
surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my dentist was like, there's no way I'm qualified to take this tooth out, so I'm sending you to the
I'm kicking
to the
you
oral
out.
surgeon. I had to go all the way up to Times Square, which was it's a trip.
Wow.
It was a trip, and then come home on the subway and the ferry. It was a day. But all week I've been taking many antibiotics, which means I can't go out into the sun. So I'm like a vampire.
Oh.
And painkillers.
Is that a thing? You can't go in the sun when you're on antibiotics?
Yeah, antibiotics make your skin very sensitive to sunlight, and I'm already so pale that I'm just like asking to become a lobster.
Oh, I guess it's been a while since I took any antibiotics. I did not know this.
Yeah, be careful. So I've gotten no work done this week because I felt terrible, and we missed recording last weekend, which made me sad because I missed you and Derek.
Well, you need like one thing to record a podcast, and it's a mouth.
What's going on with you?
What's bugging me this week? I went to the park trying to get some vitamin D, speaking of being in the sun, into my pale quarantine children. And I was sitting just minding my own business, and I feel a pinch on my wrist, and some little bug has bitten me. And I was like, dude, I wasn't doing anything to you. Why are you coming at me like this, dude? I immediately slapped it away, as you do. Slap, slap, slap. And then I was like, oh, I should have taken a picture of that and sent it to my podcast friends so they could identify it for me.
Yeah.
So quick Googling revealed that I think it was a lacewing larva, which apparently have a reputation for biting that I did not know about.
Bitey. Yeah, listeners, please Google lacewing larvae because there's something to look at. Look at their little jaws.
It got me good. I was like, ow! It didn't cause a bump or anything, but I definitely noticed it jolted my hand up to slap away at whatever was biting me.
Yeah, I don't envy you. I'm sorry that what's bugging you was an actual bug.
An actual bug this week.
Mine was just bacteria. Not quite the same.
Delicious. A bug of their own kind, I would wager. Yeah, they do look a lot like the ladybug larva.
Yeah, a little bit, just more pinchy.
Ugh, dislike. So this week we're doing the emerald ash borer.
Right, speaking about mean bugs.
Speaking of nasty little critters. The other three we've done, I've at least had a passing knowledge of what the bug is, does, or what it's about. Ladybugs, woolly bears, and ants. This is the first bug that I really have no clue about because we just haven't had them on the West Coast.
No, this is brand new for you guys. Brand new as of June 30th. You now have emerald ash borers in Oregon.
We've been invaded
The
in
only
Oregon.
spot on the West Coast. Oregon. Am I saying it wrong? Is it Oregon? I'm from New Jersey. How do you say it?
It's Oregon.
Oregon?
Yeah.
Oregon. So pretend that O is an I. Oregon.
Yes. Yeah. And crush those vowels. Just, they're gone.
Just
we don't need that second one. It's just Oregon.
Oregon. I'm probably still going to call it Oregon.
That's fine. I was watching some show once and the lady was like, I'm undercover from Portland, Oregon. And I was like, no, you're not. Because if you were really from Portland, Oregon, you would not have pronounced it Oregon. Oregano.
I come from a very small town, like down the shore in New Jersey, and it's called Forked River. And we knew if you weren't from there because you called it Forked.
Yeah.
Forked River.
Makes sense. Like learned versus learned. I'm a learned scholar. I'm a Forked River.
Yes. There was nothing scholarly about Forked River. I lived in the middle of the Pine Barrens.
I've learned all I can from academia. Time for me to head to the true bastion of knowledge. Forked River.
We were called Pineys. That's how that's
That is something that people I've encountered from the East Coast do more, which is like name each other's towns. You're like, hey, you up the hillers. Hey,
yeah, your little
you,
nickname.
yeah, exit 402ers. Whatever it is. We don't do that over here.
We're very judgy on the East Coast, I think.
I mean, maybe I'm on the wrong coast after all, because I love to judge.
Oh, don't I know it?
Oh yeah, watch out! Your days are coming.
Well, speaking of judging, the emerald ash borer sucks.
It sucks.
It sucks.
Its leg count is already way low.
It's a 0, and I'm gonna preempt this by saying 0 legs. I give it 0.
Oh.
It's our first villain, Amanda.
Oh no! Out here. Well, I mean, if they're invading coasts, it's not hero behavior to invade other people's trees. So, what is the deal with this guy? What makes him the worst?
So, Derek has kindly sent us an image, and I forgot about this. Their antennae are kind of curly, like a little mustache, like an evil villainous mustache. So,
your trees will never be safe from. I don't know why he's also French.
why is he French?
People twirling mustaches are automatically French.
Sorry to our French listeners, if they're already maybe French Canadian. We might have a couple French Canadian listeners. I don't think we have listeners from France. But we would love to. We love you, France.
We love you. France, if you want to listen to this English podcast, that's more power to you, France. But you are, famous for having mustaches. Anyway, so what's this guy do? What's he do that has earned your ire, Kelly?
So the emerald ash borer belongs to family Buprestidae. Translating it from its Greek and Latin. I don't know why we do that. We put Greek and Latin together. But I
hear it really annoys language people. Like, huh?
Yeah, like what? But I love what the name translates to. It's a poisonous beetle causing the cattle who eat it to swell up.
Oh,
that's
what a descriptive name. I complain often about our bad naming conventions. Hey, look at that bird. It's blue. It's a bluebird. Look at that snake with a rattle. This
one is very specific.
This one, they knew that I gotta talk about this specific beetle. It's the one the cows eat it and they have a bad time.
But the main deal with this family is they're wood burrowing or tree burrowing beetles. So they lay their larvae in trees, and that's kind of why the emerald ash borer is such a pain in the butt here.
I take it it's not good for the trees to get bored into.
It's very bad for the trees. Oh. I guess luckily they only affect ash trees. I think there was one incidence of them burrowing into a different species of tree. I don't think it really led to much damage. But with ash trees, they completely decimate the trees. So let's get into a little bit of their life history here to explain just why they suck so very hard.
This sucks so bad.
So they're native to East Asia, China, I think Korea, Japan, Eastern Russia, although they've since invaded Western Russia into Moscow, and they're eating the ash trees there, and they don't really have defenses for that.
Hold on, can you stop? Sorry, I just heard a police siren, and I can't tell if it was on my end or not.
Do you hear it now?
Sounds like it stopped, but it did come through a little bit.
Because there's a police siren happening right now next to me.
Okay, then
all right, so maybe that's where
just pause for a second while it passes by.
That's weird. You can hear it on my microphone.
It's faint, but it's enough there that if I was listening to a podcast, I would notice it.
Yeah. Well, wait. Can you let me know when it stops? Because it's still happening.
We're not hearing it now, so I think you're good.
Yeah, I think you're
jump
good
back
now.
to discussion of the range, and we'll just.
Okay. Yeah, go back to it's from Eastern Asia. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's from East Asia, China, Japan, Korea, and the eastern part of Russia. Although it's since invaded Western Russia into Moscow. And they feed on ash trees. And they do that in their native range. They feed on ash in China, but they only feed on ash trees there that have experienced some kind of trauma, or if they're sick or dying. Here, the problem is they're feeding on our healthy ash trees.
So normally they'd be more of a recycling niche where like this tree's not doing well. We just gotta get rid of it to make room for a good tree.
Right. Yeah, they feed on the weak, the dying.
Oh no. Are other trees just weaker because they didn't co-evolve alongside these beetles, or it's just one of those things? Just one of those things.
Yeah, so the problem when we get invasive species is that everything over in their new ecosystem does not have a resistance to this animal. Predators don't know what this animal is. Some predators can't eat them. So when you introduce an organism into a new area, there are a lot of problems that come with it. Our ash trees, something about them, it just allows this species to eat them while they're healthy. Whereas the Asian ash trees may have some kind of genetic or chemical defense against them while they're healthy, and ours just don't. When two things are co-evolving together, you get this. In ecology, we call it like the arms race. So they're always one-upping each other
Right.
for survival.
Right. And that's where a lot of our spicy foods and stuff come from, right? Is
Mhm.
the idea that plants are trying to be like, don't eat me, I'm spicy and nasty. And humans are like, ooh, delicious.
Yeah, if you're my brother, the spicier the better. A lot of folks like spicy. Not me. I'm a wimp. I can barely handle jalapeno.
Yeah, jalapeno is probably where my comfort level is. Like, I can eat a jalapeno and not want to. So now all the listeners watching are like, jalapeno. These two don't know what they're talking about.
The listeners have just discovered we are white.
Listeners, I'm sorry to inform you that we have white baby mouths.
We do.
We have the mouths of pansy white women.
Of white babes.
White babes. New Jersey and Oregon and their exotic cuisine have not prepared us.
My Polish upbringing did not prepare me for spicy. We're just not spicy people.
No. just sausagey. You just love a good sausage.
We're smoky and sausagey and potatoey.
Yeah. Our family history is mostly the Scandinavian countries, and yeah, it's similar levels of we've got to make it through the winter with our cured meats.
I love a cured meat, though.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with a cured meat, I say.
So they get to the United States, to North America specifically, because they're also in parts of Canada. They're in, I think, 5 provinces of Canada. I'm probably saying someone's going to bust me on how I say Canada, too.
Sure. You're a lot closer to Canada, so maybe you'll get away with it. Excuse me, it's Canada.
Yeah, someone's gonna get me. That's okay. Don't at me, guys. So they come in from probably China into Michigan, and they come via wooden pallets, nursery trees. So if you're shipping ash trees from China to here, and then from there they start to spread, and that spread happens again because of wooden pallets and also firewood. Please, listeners, don't take firewood across state lines. This is how we transport invasive species. It's just not a good idea. Not every animal in the United States is cosmopolitan, right? So thinking of an example, the common water snake here on the East Coast. Very common from Colorado to Florida and then up to, I think, New York. But it's since been moved over to California. And now that that United States species is an invasive species in California. So just because we're all in the same country doesn't mean we can't spread invasives around. You know what I mean?
That's so interesting. I never would have thought about wood being a harborer of invasive species. They take your grapes at the border between Oregon and California. It's like, no fruit. But they've never asked me if I have any, like, wood.
They take your grapes?
They do take your grapes. I'm not sure why. But they're like, do you have any fruit to declare? I'm like, I've got these grapes. And they're like, those are our grapes now. So maybe the border people just wanted my grapes. But they definitely took them.
Maybe they were hungry.
They were just like, these Winco green grapes, delicious. Need them.
Well, there could be the issue of transporting fruit flies, maybe. With fruit and grapes, right?
I mean, I get it.
I don't know. I don't know what your deal is on the West Coast.
Yeah, I get it with food because it feels like animals hide in food. Like you always hear the rumors about there was a tarantula in the bananas, that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, that the banana spider.
Yeah, exactly.
That highly venomous.
It comes at you. Well, I'm just picking out groceries and they're coming for you. So I get the fruit, but I've just never considered other things that bugs might be hiding in, or snakes, sounds like.
But yeah, firewood. Please don't move firewood around. Get firewood when you get to that place. You don't need to carry it with you. It's really dangerous for the local flora and fauna to be bringing in these outside wood sources. And that's kind of how it's since spread. So we now have the emerald ash borer in 35 states here in the US.
Including now my precious baby state of Oregon.
Oregon.
Oregano. Just like you said, just like on the 30th, they've arrived here, and now I have to worry about these little menaces in my trees.
And it's funny, it's not just people spreading them. So once they get here, they can fly, right? So these, like most beetle species, they have wings. I would say that this particular species has, for a superpower, Amanda, if you want to give them this, super flights.
Oh, okay, I'm ready. I'm making my notes.
So the females can fly up to 12 miles a day.
Whoa!
For 6 weeks after mating. 12 miles.
For 6 weeks? Is the mating somehow giving them the ability to go so far? Or so are they trying to find a place to lay their eggs after mating, and that's why they're like,
yep, yeah, they need to
get out of here.
You gotta disperse so that you can move your,
so they can invade.
So you give your offspring the greatest chance of survival by not putting it with a bunch of other soon-to-be babies, right?
Right. I mean, that makes perfect sense.
And they have power to fly like this because they're kind of big. They're between 0.3 and 0.5 inches for the beetle, for the adult.
Oh, Google shows a little picture of them on a penny. They're about the size of a penny. So give us if you could, from the ecologist's point of view, a rundown of what this beetle looks like. Because I assume people don't know what it looks like the same way I didn't know what it looks like. It's called emerald, so I assume it's green.
Yeah, they're a really, really beautiful, shiny emerald green color. They're hard to miss. I encourage the listeners to pull up an image of them, actually, because they're, I think, pretty stunningly beautiful. And they have really big compound eyes, which are also kind of shiny. I'm going to actually pull a picture up right now for myself. Yeah, they almost look grasshopper-like in their length, and they frequently get confused with tiger beetles. So please don't freak out if you see any green beetle, because it could be something else.
Don't discriminate against these beetles. Really,
don't be mad at all the beetles. Yeah.
Get to know him. Say, oh, you are a villain after all, and then you send him to the beetle police.
So if you're on the lookout for them, the adults are about the size of a penny, so about half an inch, but the larvae are really long. They're about 1.5 inches.
Oh,
but you won't see them because they'll be in the tree part of the tree.
So 1.5 inches down to smaller than a penny in length. They really shrink down to become an adult.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta take all that protein and make it a little bit smaller.
You gotta be a woolly bear and become Isabella Tiger Moth.
What a beauty!
What a beauty she is! Forever our queen, Isabella.
I feel like I want a shirt with the Isabella Tiger Moth now.
If you need to know who I answer to, it's Isabella Tiger Moth. So they're this beautiful green color. They got these little round head. They got these big black villainous eyes. And how do they bore into the trees? Just with their mouth?
Yeah, they just chomp their way in.
Wow.
And then so the the female will lay eggs inside of just under the bark where the softer tissue of the ash tree is. One female can lay between 60 and 100 eggs in her lifetime.
Right.
So she'll lay more than once.
How long is the lifespan? Are they just one season and done? Or are they...
They're about it could be 1 to 2 years, depending on when the eggs are laid and the temperature in that area. It might need like an extra season to go from... Because just like our Isabella Tiger Moth, they go from egg to larvae to pupae and then adult. So they have a complete life stage, a complete life cycle. The eggs take about 7 to 10 days to hatch, and then we have these long, really gross-looking larvae.
Oh, let me quickly look for a larva here.
Everyone Google.
Oh no! Oh no! They look like
tapeworms with beaks.
Yeah, they're like tapeworms. They look like when you scrunch up the paper on your straw and then you get it wet so it evolves.
They do kind of look like that.
They look like a soggy straw wrapper.
I would have never thought of that comparison, Amanda.
Well, welcome to the wacky mind of Amanda.
It's never a dull moment.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
So they're just as hungry as our woolly bears.
So many of them
They're
are.
hungry for trees. Hungry for trees.
So this ash tree, defenseless, is being invaded by these little monsters. How long are they munching away at these guys? At the trees, I should say.
They munch all summer into about August. And the big problem with these guys is they feed in an S-shaped pattern. So like just they're kind of like, I know listeners can't see me, but I'm making like a wiggly hand movement for Amanda to see.
So they're meandering back and forth through the branches of these trees.
Well, through the underneath the bark.
Oh.
And what this does is it cuts off the xylem and the phloem. These are the capillary systems that allows plants to get nutrients from their roots to the leaves. But when you make this S-shaped cut into the tree, all over the tree, those nutrients have a tough time getting to the top. And then we start to see die off from the tree, from the leaves.
You're just more likely to cut off supply chains if you go
Yep.
back and forth,
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth.
It's like COVID, but for trees.
Yum. So, how quickly can they kill a tree? An infestation of these guys.
It depends on how infested the tree is, but it can happen pretty quickly. And what we're seeing is, so we have, I think, 9 species of ash in North America. Although I don't know what's going on in Oregon, guys. Because
Yeah, I know.
When I look at the USDA, check USDA for species of ash, they tell me 9, but Oregon State University says there's 16. So
Oh.
I'm gonna go with plants are weird. Plants are weird. So between 9 and 16 species of ash.
What's that podcast, Eric? Where are the arborists or something like that?
Completely arbitrary. They also did
arbitrary.
an episode about one of the ash trees.
Okay, so
yeah.
do we want to shout them out right now or not?
It's a good podcast.
I would, yeah, I haven't listened to it yet, but I really should. Anyway, out of all these species of ash, we are seeing that the blue ash has some resistance to the emerald ash borer. So there's hope. There's hope.
I think the difference between the two numbers of ash species is probably including ornamental varieties versus native varieties.
Oh, maybe. Because they were not explicit about that on the website. They just said 16. Well, I'm just going to go with 9.
There we go.
Here's a clip. In North America, there are 9 species of ash tree. They're better.
Yeah, that sounds like they mean endemic.
Yeah. I would trust the USDA over a university.
Yeah.
Oregon State is a big forestry school.
They must be counting cultivars and non-natives. Oh,
there's 2 divisions within that school. There's the green tree people, and then there's the brown tree people. So the forestry department is split between industry and ecology.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
A
buddy of mine got a forestry degree, but from
you
Florida.
Tree hugger.
The people who want to nurture the trees and the people who want to cut them down.
Who want to use their bodies.
Oregon has really strict rules about reforestation. So like if you, for every tree you cut down, you have to plant a new one.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
We have that in New Jersey, but only in specific neighborhoods. Like my friend lives in a neighborhood where if you cut a tree down from your yard, you have to replace it.
Tree law.
Yeah, I love tree law. He's kind of annoyed by it, but I'm like, this is great. It means your neighborhood is always fully treed.
Mm-hmm. Our neighbor's got this oak tree that he's dying to cut down, but no one will let him because you have to like submit, and I think it's called an asset to the community is what they call it when you're not allowed to.
That one's giant. Yeah,
it's big. Huge. It's big.
Why would you cut down a big tree like that?
I think he's worried about it falling on his house. But it's a healthy tree, so they won't let him cut it down.
It's fine. Yeah. Just trim the branches at least, so you're not going to get branch fall on your roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys only have 1 species of ash called the Oregon ash.
Oh, aptly named then.
You probably have non-endemic, but you only have 1 endemic species. That was according to your Oregon State University.
Those tree-loving Oregonians. Bunch
Yeah.
of tree-hugging hippies.
So yeah, you guys have one endemic species of ash called the Oregon ash, and that actually is a little scary because if you only have one,
Oh, yeah. I hadn't considered. I was like, oh, so we've only got to look out for that one. But now we've only got to look out for that
Mhm.
one. Because if he gets it, it's got.
yeah,
There's
and
nobody else we could replace it with.
that's pretty frightening. But there's been, well,
So, do just the larvae cause damage to the trees, or do they get got as adults too? Do the adults also harm the trees?
so the adults eat the leaves.
Oh,
So the poor ash trees are kind of taking it from both ends here. So if you notice a lot of leaf damage as well,
yeah. How do I know if my tree's been infected?
oh boy, lots of indicators. So look for that swirly S pattern. You can see that in the tree because
Mhm.
the bark will kind of fall off, and then you can see the way the S shape emerges. There's also D-shaped holes, and this is where the adults come out after they hatch, after they emerge from the pupa. And you'll find crown defoliation. So the top part of the tree, the leaves will be kind of falling off or missing. And there's vertical cracks that'll run up and down the tree as well from all the damage from the larva. And this is a common stress response for trees is you'll see fresh shoots, like kind of new looking branches coming out from the base of the tree around the roots. And you see this sometimes in like city trees that aren't ashes. It's a stress response for the tree. It just starts dumping out as many root shoots as possible to save the tree.
Oh, so it's trying to make. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live. I just gotta get away.
You just got to get something out there. Yeah.
Something out there, and I'll live through my new shoots. So I'm looking at my tree. I'm trying to make sure it's healthy. I see these squiggle marks. I see these little D-shaped holes from them getting out and munching all my leaves. What can I do? Do I have to just scrap the whole tree and start again? Or is there anything I can do to save my little baby ash tree?
So in Oregon specifically, you can call 1-866 invader, INVADER, to report any ash trees. You can also go online. Most states will have either a phone number or an invasive species hotline you can call, or a website form. In our field notes for the listeners, if you go to our website, I have a link for you for the USDA's website that you can report in, and also an external link to Emerald Ash Borer info, which will give you a specific state loadout of who to call, where to report it to, whether it be a website or on the phone. But definitely report them if you see them in your state. Unless it's Michigan, they're not interested in more reports.
They said, we know.
We know already.
So is there any hope for us out here with our new invader? What can we do?
Well, the trees that were suffering from infestation there where you are in Oregon, they were mulched. You got to mulch the whole
Mulched.
tree. You can't
They
save
said,
the tree. Yeah.
we're starting over. This has got to go. Any bugs inside getting mulched.
Yeah, anything inside has to be destroyed.
Gave them the Fargo treatment.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
left
give
foot, a
them
foot.
Fargo. Not even a foot. We got nothing. We don't want
Nothing.
anything left.
Well, they're really small. I feel like at least one of them is going to get through that mulcher.
That's probably true. There's
Oh.
probably a bunch of little feet.
Oh. just dozens of tiny little
Tiny little
antenna-like feet. That's strangely adorable.
The larvae have feet too, technically.
Not
So-
those guys.
Tiny feet.
So let's go over these villainesque qualities and talk about what I've drawn so far. Okay, let me toss them to you in the chat real
Oh, I
fast.
can't
here.
wait to see.
I need to go over his lines again because they're a little. Oh no! They're a little rough. I'll go through them again and make them. Actually, let me do that first. Let me do the hard lining before I send them your way.
Sure. I'm just looking at images of the Emerald Ash Borer. I've never seen one in person, honestly.
Oh, so you've never, even though they're over there, you've never
We've
seen
got them. I've just never seen one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen what an infestation looks like. I've seen the S-shaped.
I recognize this
Squiggles.
S shape. There must be something else that does this because I am having memories of birch trees with this on it, which is not the same kind of tree, obviously.
Other boring beetle larvae will probably make similar patterns.
Oh, I don't want it to be that. I'm on the wrong layer. The bane of my existence.
I was looking up ash, and the word ash comes from the Old English "ask," which means spear. And ash tree branches are so straight they used to use them to make spear shafts.
Oh, interesting.
Thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, it's a cool name.
I'm learning so much about naming conventions this episode. Sorry, I'm trying to do this quickly, but
No, you're fine.
all right, let me give him a couple more sparkles on his beautiful. Okay, here we go. Save. Oh, so let's go quickly over what I've drawn so far and see what we need to add to him.
Sure.
I've done a curly mustache, as we must. I kept him a little bit more cartoony because I felt like the real life threat of him was a little too imposing. He needs to be a little bit cartoony to save my well-being. I gave him a fancy jacket, coattails, because of that long body he has.
He's excellent.
I gave him sort of decimation powers in this squiggle shape that he leaves behind. So he can, I imagine, suck the life out of something. That's a very villainous power.
He's like a necromancer.
Yes, very necromancer, as I would say.
Is that how you say it?
Now that we found another dialect difference between us. And then, of course, because he's an ash borer, I've given him a chainsaw for a hand.
I love the little Evil Dead reference there with the chainsaw hand and ash. Cute.
You gotta sneak him in where you can.
Cute. He looks
Plus,
fantastic.
I think there's something very funny about a man in coattails with a chainsaw for a hand. Elegance.
He is very elegant.
So when I toss some color on this guy, I'm obviously going to color him green with some sparkly essence upon it. Is there a reason why they're green and sparkly like that?
So the neat thing about metallic colors, specifically, we see them in beetles a lot. They don't come from the pigmentation. They come from ridges on their bodies, and these ridges act kind of like a bunch of lenses coming together, and lenses will either cancel or amplify wavelengths to show you what color we're going to see. I guess a good comparison is, when you flip a DVD over and it's got that rainbow color.
Ah, yes.
That it's the same property. And we don't really know why they do this, why they're this kind of neat metallic color. It could either be for mate attraction, or I've read that it could be to mimic raindrops on leaves.
Oh.
So a raindrop on a leaf is also a lens, and you'll get that rainbowy color in a raindrop. So perhaps similar properties, but pretty neat. So camouflage, I would say they can kind of camouflage.
Because I would say birds love shiny things. You don't want to be shiny unless you can look like a raindrop, in which the bird may ignore you because they're like, eh.
So you might not notice you from above. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Sorry, I've just realized as you were describing that the place I think I've seen similar beetles. I don't think it was this exact beetle, but there's this famous dress that an actress wore for Lady Macbeth that is covered in green beetle. I guess they're called cases, beetle cases.
Oh, carapace.
It's shimmering and yeah. So there's this famous Lady Macbeth dress that's covered in these beetle wings that makes her green and shiny. And I've just realized as you were describing that, this is where I've seen the beetle before, is on this dress. Let me quickly send you a picture of it.
I just put a link in the.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, Derek.
Oh,
wow.
So this is the painting of it, which is how I know about it, is because it's art history, this painting. So I guess beetle wings were like a thing for a while in fashion history.
Oh my god, that's beautiful.
These ones look a little bit more shiny,
stunning.
A little less iridescent.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool. I want a dress made out of beetles. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah. This is the dress I tried to replicate for my friend's wedding that I was the officiant for. She was like, I want you to look as much like a witch as possible while still being wedding appropriate. So I went with a Lady Macbeth route. So there's this dress and it's covered in these beetles. That was a real thing there for a while, was covering stuff in decorative beetle wings all throughout fashion history in particular. But they did a art installation not that long ago, I think in Brussels, in the Palace of Brussels, with 1.5 million of these beetles, just their beautiful green carapaces, I think is what you call them.
Oh, wow.
All on the ceiling. And so the whole room, and I think a chandelier as well, just shimmers in this green beetle effect.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's really, really beautiful. It does really make cool. Me like, what happened to the beetles? 1.5 million beetles.
Now I want a dress and a ceiling covered in rupested beetles.
When you become your own bug themed like villain, you of course will become this like Maleficent-esque creature who lives in a palace of shimmering beetle wings and wears
Covered in beetles.
covered in beetles yourself, long drapering sleeves that bell from here to there.
I love this. I love thinking about insects and culture and where they kind of fit into art. It's very neat.
Well, a lot of our paints and stuff, a lot of our dyes are also crushed bugs. So, I having not encountered this bug myself, all my murder stories for the bug are art history of all the things we've crushed and dissected in the name of fashion. So we have our villain rather than a hero this week. Who would be the hero counterpart to this villain?
Oh boy, woodpeckers for one. Woodpeckers do eat these, and if you see a tree covered in an ash tree covered in woodpecker holes, it might be infested with the emerald ash borer.
And they're trying to get to him.
Trying to get them. But for insects, parasitoid wasps.
The wasp returns.
I know everyone hates wasps, but there's a few species in China that specifically predate the emerald ash borer. They lay their eggs where the larvae is, and the eggs hatch, and then they eat the larva. It's pretty metal, actually, as far as predation method goes. And we've actually imported, I think, 4 of those species. So in 2007, in the U.S., we started to breed them and then release 3. I think then was 3 species of this wasp. And then in 2020, the USDA reared about 550,000 parasitoid wasps. That was 4 different species.
Whoa.
And they released them to over 240 sites. And it's working.
And that's all just an effort to get rid of this beetle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we call that biological control measures.
Isn't there a whole episode of The Simpsons about why we shouldn't do that sort of stuff?
Yeah. Yes. It can be very tricky. Hopefully we don't have any repercussions down the line.
We don't create an old lady and the fly situation where it ends with us releasing jaguars.
Yeah, yes.
But there have been successful parasitoid wasp introductions to the US as biological control agents.
Yeah, they work pretty well. They tend to be fairly taxa specific for hosts, which is nice. It makes it so they don't go wild and kind of get everything.
So out of the 6 legs, you preemptively said at the beginning that you think it's 0 out of 0 legs. Do you stand by that rating?
I'm going to give it 2 ratings. So as a bug, because I don't want it here and it's an invader, hard 0. Could I make a whole dress out of it? 6 legs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Use this decoration. Excellent.
Excellent.
If I can
10 legs, we could do it.
If I can display its dead body upon mine, then I
on my living body. That's
to remind it who's boss.
Who's the ecologist here? It's me.
It's me. Who's the doctor now?
Oh, it's not
you.
Not
Almost
yet.
so. You're nearly there. You're nearly a doctor of bugs.
I'll be very excited when you can ask me what's bugging me, and I can say I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor now. I would say that this villain is also a doctor because there's some real Dr. Robotnik-esque vibes going on. Is it obvious that I had to watch Sonic the Hedgehog 2 about 6 times this week?
Well, how many legs would you give it?
What
do you think?
I think invasive, that's a hard drop in score. It looks great. And I will say it's really great at what it does, which for better or for worse,
decimate.
Yeah, I mean, being good at your job, even if that job sucks, there's something to that. I'm gonna give it a leg. I'm gonna give it a single solitary leg. 1 leg.
Maybe I'll give it half a leg.
Half a leg.
Like it fell off when I was trying to collect it.
A twitching, nasty little leg.
It happens sometimes. They're very delicate.
Most bugs are, I'm afraid. Bugs Need Heroes is created by Derek Conrad and Kelly Zimmerman, hosted by Amanda Allen Niday and Kelly Zimmerman. Bugs Need Heroes is produced and edited by Derek Conrad. Our music is Ladybug Castle by Roll Music. All art is provided by Amanda Allen Niday. Got a bug question? Email us at bugsneedheroes@gmail.com. Check us out on bugsneedheroes.com for the visual companion to our episodes with the artwork of the bug-related heroes. We also have an Instagram, Twitter, and subreddit under the Bugs Need Heroes name. Thanks for coming by. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say now.